All right. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another podcast, the Reentry Connect podcast. Surviving Heavy Brokenness with Mr. Rick Diaz. We thank
Amen.
y'all for tuning in tonight. We thank y'all for coming, and we're definitely starting something great. And we're definitely going to be sharing some real good information tonight, something that's going to help you guys be encouraged, help individuals that are going through the same transitioning. But one thing I want to say, especially about my brother Rick Diaz, is that most times people don't know what people have been through. Sometimes you come out the fire without a smell of smoke on you. We go
Right.
through things that people may not know. We may smile, we may feel as though things are cool, and you may think, wow, that person had a good upbringing. But little do you know that the story behind that person's testimony is
Yeah.
mind blowing.
That's
And
good.
that's one of the ways we overcome. We overcome first by blood, but then on top of that is by somebody's testimony. So again, this brother's sharing a story that's going to blow your mind. So I just want y'all to just literally give him your undivided attention and know that you're definitely going to be moved by his story. So, Mr. Rick Diaz, without further ado, could you please give yourself a little introduction and just go on right with it, and we'll go with the flow. Thank you.
Amen, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you. It's an honor for for you to have me on here,
Yes,
brother
it is.
Keenan Hudson. I admire the work that you're doing. For the kingdom and for all those that are in despair, that are looking for that hope, that are looking for a way out of their situation, man. Because there's always a way out, man.
It is.
Um, I'm a living testimony. You're a living testimony. You got to share some of your testimony. I've heard it online a few times with other people, and I just admire, the work that we're allowed to do by God's grace.
Yeah.
Out here, outside of those four walls.
Yes, indeed.
Because that's where it's needed the most.
Yes,
And
indeed.
the reason why I say that, man, is because I come from that. I
Wow.
come from, being, in despair as a young kid, going in and out of, jail, getting locked up at the age of 14.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That's when I
14.
really,
You
yeah,
started at 14 years old. So you were in the streets early. So
yes, I'm
how was
48. I'm 48 now,
wow.
and they said I wouldn't get to 21 or 18.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so it's
Why
been
did they say that? Why did they say that? What did you go through? Where did you come from? What area of the
um
city? Like what happened?
it's growing up in the Badlands, they say that we are products of our own environment, right?
Wow.
And quote unquote, that's the saying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I was brought up in a pretty well-rounded home, being the seventh child, the youngest out of seven of my mother's
Mhm.
kids that she had with my father. But I grew up, pretty much alone because all of my brothers were a lot older than me.
Wow.
And so, yeah, my youngest sister, I'm 10 years younger than her. So imagine everybody was already out the house.
Mm.
Yeah, I was looking for, I had two other brothers. Well, they're no longer with us among the living anymore. They
Oh, I'm
passed
sorry to
away.
hear.
Yeah, so but and my dad, he passed away at a young age, and
Oh,
he
wow.
dealt with addiction for many years. And so I grew up by myself. My mom separated from him at the age of 7. I grew up down 8th in Lehigh,
Okay.
and well-known area to a lot of people, within the Philadelphia area. It was multicultural area, you know what I mean? And then from there, we moved around Kensington and Allegheny. Now
Mm.
that right there hit me like boom, like, cause that area, there was a lot of, indifferences, prejudice. It was prejudice that I had to deal with. We used to get chased,
Wow.
yeah, we couldn't leave our block alone because we would get chased and bullied by, people that weren't our nationality, that wasn't our race and stuff.
Mhm.
So you get
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it was
Mhm.
racially divided where I grew up
Wow.
at.
Wow.
And then
So
over the years,
mhm,
it started to change.
change. So let
Yeah.
me ask you this. So when you were in the street life, what type
Hmm.
of things did you experience that can relate to a lot of individuals today, or a lot of individuals that's going down that down track? What things did you experience that were like really a shocker, or not necessarily a shocker, but actually traumatizing towards you throughout your lifetime?
Yeah, like I said, growing up, in the environment where I was at in the Badlands, in North Philadelphia, there was always something happening, like shooting, gang banging in my
Mm,
neighborhood. You would hear it every day. Um, and so at the age of 14, I wanted to emulate that. I wanted to imitate that. You know what I mean? And
wow.
growing up by myself without my father really being there, he was there for me, but wasn't really there for me.
Mhm,
Um, so I took on other role models in the block. I started going to the street corners at the age of 15. Started
mhm,
hanging out with them. Started selling, drugs at a young age and stuff like that. And I
mhm.
first got locked up in school and got kicked out, at the age of
Wow.
14. And then from there, it just snowballed. The influence at the age of 16, they gave me juvenile life at
Wow.
Glen. Yeah, I was in Glen Mills for 2 almost 2 years. Yeah,
Wow.
I got out at 18. I went in there at 16. I got out at when I was 18 because they couldn't hold me no more after 18. They can't hold you no more. But yeah,
Mm,
I spent some time in the juvenile youth study center.
mhm,
Um, yeah, and that was an experience for me. And then from there, I took the commitment in Glen Mills, and that was starting to be the turning point because that's where I got the discipline that I can get at home. You,
mm.
you, you understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like Glen Mills, even though it was a juvenile, like a reform school, a reform place, but it was more
Mhm.
like a reform school, you
Gotcha.
know. And though I just recently heard they closed down for
Yeah.
some stuff
Mhm.
that, yeah,
Yeah,
staff in there they didn't play,
yeah,
like
yeah.
they had a situation where they can touch you from here to your waist, like they can really,
Wow.
yeah, it was called touch for attention.
Wow, wow.
So yeah, so they really could put their hands on you, but you couldn't put your hands on your other,
Yeah.
peers that was your age and stuff. And from
Mhm.
there, I just learned the discipline. You know what I mean? I just started to discipline myself. Say, well, I'm here. I didn't want to go to an adult. They wanted to certify me at the age of
Mhm.
16.
Wow.
Um, yeah, at that time they was ready to certify me because the charges that was put on me they were real serious.
Wow, wow.
And yeah, so they was gonna leave me in the youth study center and then certify me after I turned 18 and then give me adult jail time.
Wow. So did you wind up going upstate, spending time upstate, or no?
No, no, I went to the
Mm,
mills, the Glen Mills. I got out at
okay.
18, and then that's when I went back into the streets again. I was doing good for a little. I was almost on my way to the military when I got
Oh,
out.
wow. Wow.
Yeah, but it didn't go as planned, and so
Mhm.
the influence and my environment it drew me back. I was starting to go into clubs
Mm,
and started to live the party life and being involved with addictions of all sorts and stuff like that. So
mm.
yeah, and then got arrested again and again and again. So as far as like state time, I really didn't do time of state, but I did get caught up in like county, in and out of
Gotcha.
counties time. Yeah.
So at what point in your life
Mhm.
did that transformation start to happen after the addiction, after you were caught up in the streets? I know that you were probably just sick and tired. So at
Yeah.
what point did that transformation, and what did that transformation look like?
Yeah. I was, man, that I would say it started to happen when my son was born, but I was still involved into the street because I was dealing with like witchcraft.
At
I was
Santeria?
yeah, Santeria,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And yeah, it's not a coincidence that you have the Puerto Rican flag there because
Mhm.
a lot of our culture is involved in that,
Mm.
occult religion and stuff like that. And so I was involved in that also. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I was tied into a lot of stuff. I got shot 4 times, well, 3 times, one time, during all of that. And I've seen
Mhm.
people, drop dead right in front of me. And
Mm.
I almost died myself. I drove myself to the house with 3 gunshot wounds.
Wow. So they shot you up.
Yeah, they shot me
Wow.
up. They ran up on my car, and it was a dispute, verbal dispute, and he just didn't want to hear it, and he just pulled out and shot me while I was just sitting, while I was just sitting in my car trying to drive off. And but good thing, thank God that none of the wounds were like piercing. They didn't pierce my inner, you know, uh
Mhm.
organs and
Organs.
stuff or
Yeah, yeah.
bones. It was
Arteries.
more flesh, you know,
Wow.
flesh wounds. And so, and then, I was able to come out, but I still suffer. Like for years, I suffered from, trauma,
Trauma.
PTS. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was something because like every time 4th of July will come around or I would hear loud bangs, it would have me shook. I always was carrying with a, weapon, illegal weapon on me. Yeah, it
Mm.
was rough. It was rough. It was really rough. And so, but my turning point started, to answer, go back to your question, it started happening when my first son was born.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we moved out, me and my wife moved out of North Philly up to the Northeast. And I gradually got away from that atmosphere. I was still going back and forth though. Um,
Mhm.
but my really turnaround event happened when I was almost 30 years old.
Wow. And let's
Yeah.
hear about that. What happened then?
Man, it was a moment in my life where I was just broken. I just couldn't take it no more. I was tired of being tired, in and out of prison. And even though I didn't do hard time or anything like that,
Mhm, mhm.
and because I could talk about that too, like I know a lot of people that's in there. Like I was
Gotcha.
able to minister to people in Greatersford when I was out here, when I
Wow,
finally,
wow,
turned, the Lord turned it around for me. And so
wow,
I was able to minister to people in there and State Road and stuff like that. So I know
wow.
a lot of people in there, lifers. I met a lot of lifers and stuff like that. I got a cousin that's doing life. I got a nephew that's doing life. I got,
Mm,
a lot of associates that I knew from my past that's doing life and stuff like that or doing
wow,
long bids. So
wow.
yeah,
So throughout that time and you knowing that,
yeah,
so you had that moment, that experience,
yeah,
that God changed a moment that told you, hey, you wanted to
yeah.
transform your life and say, I didn't want to do this anymore
It
because you had
happened.
kids to live for. Mhm.
Yeah, it happened right in there. I was in State Road, and I was seeing a back judge. Matter of fact, my back judge was Judge Lerner,
Judge Learning, yes, sir.
the one that you was
Yeah,
talking with. That you had an
uh-huh.
interview.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was my back judge. I remember he gave me it was 7 years. He cut me, man. He gave me a chance. Wow, it was like he really had mercy
Yeah.
on me because from the gate when I had got arrested prior to my turnaround event, he gave me a chance. He knew I was automatically supposed to serve state time at
Wow.
least 5 years or more.
Yeah, yeah. Wow,
Yeah, so he,
wow.
he cut me a big break. When I tell you a big break, oh man, when I seen you in the interview, it was like boom. It was like wow. It was like
Deja vu.
God telling me, yeah, it was like God talking to me right there, like you gotta be grateful
Wow.
for
Yeah,
people like
yeah,
him that judge righteously. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, because he could have just
Threw
threw
you
me.
away.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he
Yeah,
could have threw me away. But
yeah.
yeah, so I was seeing him when that had the last time. I was almost 30 years old. I got caught up in the situation, and then I was in the county. And 3 months in, I was like, it's whatever's going to happen from here on out. I'm going to
Mhm,
stop fighting this, and I'm going to start speaking. What's my purpose here on earth? That's the one question
mhm.
I had, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people had that question when they go through a moment of brokenness, you know what I
Yes,
mean? A
indeed.
moment of just not able to get over the hump. I was just
Uh-huh.
tired of being tired. My daughter was just born, she's 18 now. And
Wow.
yeah, she was like only like 2 months. That was already my second child biological. Though I raised
Mm.
three of them, but that was my second biological child,
Yeah, yeah.
that was
Wow.
born. Yeah. So it was
Blessing.
like, you know what?
Yeah,
Enough is enough. I have to find a better way.
yeah.
And I've tried it all, and everything failed me. But
Wow.
I said, I heard about you. I heard about this creator, but I don't know you. And that's what I need right now. I need to know who I am and where I come from. I need purpose, in other words. You know what I mean?
Wow,
Like I was
wow,
just living life without purpose and trying to look for it in all the wrong places.
wow,
And
wow.
so he responded to me. And the way he responded to me was, other brothers of faith actually in there
Oh,
that
wow.
yeah, that mentored me, that introduced me into the walk of faith. And from there, I started seeing visions and so on and so things were just starting to happen. I started to minister and talk to counsel people in there afterwards. And we talking about 3 months span.
Wow.
I was expecting to go upstate after that because Judge Lerner wasn't trying to have it.
Mm.
Yeah, when I went back to see him, during the
Yeah,
trial and stuff like that, I wrote him a letter, and he actually read my letter.
read the letter. Wow.
He,
Hey, it's crazy you say that. I don't mean to interrupt you because I actually wrote in my book. I had wrote him a letter when I was a juvenile as well.
yeah,
And it's crazy. He read my letter and then he repleted. The crazy thing is, due to the severity of the case that I had, he told me in the courtroom, I think it was during sentencing or guilty plea, whatever the case may have been. But he told me, he said, due to the nature, I have your letter. And he said, you were very articulate. But he implored me. I actually got the actual letter when he implored me. He said,
mm,
listen, I implore you that when you do go upstate, you have a second chance and you have a chance to change your life. And the crazy thing is, when I came out and then when I was connected back and reunited with him, that's how he was able to make the insert of my book and it was able to take off the way it did. That's the reason why. And that's a big, but it's only by the grace though.
yeah,
That's why. And I will say right now that the things that you've been through is because you had favor and grace over your life. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Most people
yeah,
don't have that. You know what I mean? Not saying they couldn't have it, but at the same time, you decided not to be rebellious, but you
yeah.
decided to change and have that transformation in your life. But continue. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. And
Uh-huh.
and man, I love the fact that we're able to connect in that area because it just speaks volumes of
Yeah.
how our faith walk it really is.
Yeah.
It's not just talking about it, it's being about it.
Absolutely.
I had to
Absolutely.
put the pen to work, in other words,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I had to put my spirit in it also as I'm writing it because if I truly am a person that is looking for purpose, then my purpose has to be written. You know,
Wow.
the purpose
Talking.
has to be
Talking.
put on paper.
Talking.
And so, yeah, because I refuse for anyone or himself to treat me like I'm just any criminal.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I really felt the separation, if you get what I'm saying. I really
Yeah.
felt like when that purpose came into my life, I said, I am different. I
Wow.
am different. I don't have to settle for less. I
Mm.
don't have to settle for this brokenness. Yes, I'm broken, but it was necessary
Wow.
because God, my creator, he had to put me together.
There you go.
He had to put me together first here and then in here.
That's
And
it.
so and so when that happened, I just put it on display. I
Wow.
put it on display, brother. I
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
I wanted to put it on display even to the fishes when I got home. That
Mm.
was in my fish tank. I
Uh,
wanted to let
uh,
them know about it,
yeah, that story. You're
you
right.
know.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
It was a radical transformation. It wasn't just a change, right? Because
Uh-huh.
change can be temporal, right? But
Yeah.
transformation brings us to the level of glory. Like
Ooh, wow, wow.
it's unexplainable. I could, we can speak it all the time, but you really have to experience.
Experience.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
have to
true.
have it onto yourself
Yeah.
and own it. You know what I mean? Like you really have to own,
Mhm.
what you're going through, your transformation, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And man, I was seeing things like, wow, I could have been dead a long time ago.
Oh. Yeah, yeah.
I was a dead man walking. You know what I mean? Like when I saw like it's almost like it was a flashback of everything that I went through and why that I went through. It's like I was
Mm.
getting answers to all the questions that I had.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was just
Wow.
awesome, bro. It
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
time
yeah.
in my life. I
Uh-huh.
was it was so awesome that I was ready to be like, you know what, Judge Lerner and this other no judge that I got. If y'all want to give me whatever you want, I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready because I was free already. You know,
Wow, wow,
being in the
wow,
four
wow.
walls, I was free, man. I was totally free, man. And I started
Yeah,
to mount up my wings, and
yeah,
it took some support. And I
yeah,
encourage
yeah,
that's why I encourage a lot of people, especially young people and people that
yeah.
are still dealing with with their situation incarcerated. You need that support, man. It's a combined fate.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's great. And you got comments here, be nice, saying talk heavy, powerful, sharing. And that's
Yeah.
what it's all about. See, you definitely reaching people by your story.
Amen.
As you just
Amen.
mentioned, when you had that transformation, you noticed and recognized that you were set apart.
Yes.
You were set apart for a purpose. You were more of a peculiar people. You know what
Yes.
I mean? You knew
Yes.
that your mission was higher than, or more than your past. You were
Yes.
more than your situation that you was going through. And
My
sometimes
identity.
and that's how it is. And that's how you develop, and
Mhm.
that's how you find out the
Yeah.
identity. 'Cause you gotta remember, like now, if you look, even when you look at the biblical terms,
Mhm.
from a biblical perspective, God used a lot of people. He used
Yeah.
Moses, used Joseph, used David,
Yeah.
Saul converted to Paul.
Yeah.
There's so many, situations that you can relate to. So we can never doubt, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Never doubt the power of our creator. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can never
Never.
doubt that because there's things that we may see crooked, but may be right in his eyes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But then there may be things that we may deem right, but it may be crooked in his eyes.
Yeah.
But why is that? Because his ways is not our ways. His
That's
thoughts
right.
are not our thoughts. You
That's
see what I'm
right.
saying?
That's
So
right.
so when we begin to try to compare ourselves, we're wasting time. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? We
That's
can't
right.
do that. Only thing we can do is be obedient.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Not saying that, that we won't have a shortcoming or we won't fall short, but at the same time, we don't stay there.
That's
You
right.
understand what I'm
That's
saying? For
right.
all fall short of glory. That's just period.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean? Nobody's exempt. So a lot of times people look around and probably say, well, this person supposed to be walking like this, or this person supposed to be walking. Well, listen, pastors sin too. Pastors make mistakes too.
Yes.
Bishops, everybody is human.
Yes.
However, yes, no one's perfect, but we strive for perfection.
Right.
You have many professionals in the world. You have professional basketball players, professional lawyers, things like that, but they still miss shots.
That's right.
They still
That's right.
lose cases, but you
That's
don't
right.
never discredit their professionalism.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Same as we as people that's walking in a
That's right.
certain path. You know what I mean? So it's a lot, that again, but this type of learning and experience, just
Mhm.
comes in time. It
That's
comes
right.
in increments. I told
That's right.
somebody earlier, I said, everybody is dealt a certain deck of cards, but it's up to you to play with your poker face or not.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody can take that initiative to change. Everybody, it may take longer than others.
That's right.
Whether you're a drug addict, whether you're a drug dealer, whether you're a murderer, whether you're a shooter, whether you're in a gang, whatever the case may be, you still have time to change. You still have time to change your mind, change your
Yes,
thought
sir.
process, and get on the right road.
That's
You
right.
can really help and reach people that are in your situation. Just think about it. I told people the other day on the other podcast, I said a lot of people are always willing to die for their homies, but not willing to live for their kids. Why
Mhm.
not live for your family, the people that value, the people that are there for you
There
on a
you
daily
go.
basis, people that want to see you succeed?
There you
But
go.
it becomes that again, your environment, the people you're around, and the things you're feeding yourself.
Yeah.
That's
And
very huge.
you
Mhm.
hit it right. You hit it right on the nose, man. I think family is such a huge support,
Yes.
especially when you are coming out of brokenness.
Wow.
Um, because that's what also did it for me. Not just the support, but
Yeah.
other faith-based believers also. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and this is the reason why I never put I never put God in a box. I never put
Mhm.
anything that happens in my life or
Mhm.
in the life of others
Yeah.
in a box. There's no limit. You know,
No
there's
limit.
no limit. There's no religion that can contain, it's not really about religion, it's about a relationship. And I had to learn that because even in my home, not only I was broken, but my home was broken.
Mm.
My relationship
Ooh.
with my soon to be wife, I mean, legally, she was already my wife before she
Yeah, yeah.
became, you
Cool,
get what I'm
cool.
saying? Like, so,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
but
yeah.
that was broken.
Yeah.
And God had to reveal to me, like, hey, I created you to be the head,
Not to tell.
you know, not so that you can control it, so that you can allow me to put the pieces together to the puzzle. And
Mm.
you said something real important. You said earlier, you said, I don't want to misquote you, but you said, we're not perfect, right? And we're
Mhm.
gonna fall short. The pastors fall short. Just because they have titles and so on and so forth doesn't mean that it makes us, exempt from
Exactly. Yeah.
falling short of God's perfection, because He's perfect, right? He's the only one that's perfect.
That's it.
But why did we become imperfect?
Mm. That's
It's
insane.
because we are designed to need a God that is perfect. It's designed to always need His
Wow.
help and not do it on our own. See, I was so
Wow.
accustomed to just doing things on my own strength.
Mm.
If I needed money, go to the block and get it. If
Mm.
I needed this, go to so and so and get it. If I needed this to happen, point the finger, boom, like the centurion. I am too am a man of authority. I'll
Wow.
point to this one and tell him to go, and he goes. You
Oh,
see what I'm saying?
yeah.
But then when you come to that realization and that transformation, and you come to sit down and say, you know what? I'm not in control.
Mm.
If truly I am a child of a king,
Mhm.
he is the one that's
In
my
control.
ruler. He is my king.
That's
And
it.
now just need to know his decrees.
That's it.
And his decrees are the ones that rule over my mind, body, and my soul.
Wow.
And
Wow.
when that took place, that's when I started to learn how to have the right relationship within my household with my wife.
Wow. Wow.
And 6 months after that, I got married when I came out because, oh yeah, going back to, you know, being let out after 3 months.
Mhm.
Um, when I was expected, I was already expecting to go upstate, like I told you.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
Lerner wasn't having it. He said, "No, I'm not letting them out until we find out what's the deal, what's this deal with." But he had
Yeah. Yeah.
mercy on me, and he did let me out the second time I went. My lawyer faced him. He did let
Mhm.
me out because, like I said, he read my letter,
Yeah.
and I know it impacted him because I brought family into it. I brought my faith
Wow.
into the writing also,
Uh-huh.
and so I don't think he saw that before. 7 years
Wow.
prior to that. Yeah, but
Wow.
I
Wow.
think I wholeheartedly believe that he did see that.
Mm. Mhm.
And so that made a way for me to come out. I got out December 24th.
What?
You already know, nobody was leaving
Nobody.
State Road, nobody. Everybody was on vacation already,
Yeah.
days
Yeah. Yeah.
prior, and then who came and got me? The captain.
Wow.
He said, "Mr. Diaz, pack your stuff." And
What?
and my cellies looked at me like, "What? You leaving?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm leaving." And I just
Wow.
started praising God from there. I was like, "Oh, thank you, Lord."
Yeah, you got
And he,
out of
and as he's walking me to get, to get out of there, he's walking me to the holding cell. He's like, "Man, there truly is Santa Claus is for real." And I said, "Well, I don't know about that, but I know, y'all
God is
know
for
my
real.
God is real."
Yeah, that's it.
And he started laughing, and
That's it.
man, I still remember it like it's yesterday. Walking out of there, we talking about 18 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
Walking out of there, I really felt like I was being carried out of there. I wasn't
Mm.
walking.
Wasn't
I was
walking. Wow.
walking, but it didn't feel like I was walking. If you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying, it was like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was
That's
so
powerful.
awesome. Yeah.
That's powerful. And that and like I say, man, and I know that we could definitely go on and on with this
Oh,
story, but it's very powerful, man, how you went
yeah,
from having an upbringing that was very problematic, having an upbringing that was very traumatizing, having a fatherless home, which he was present but
yeah,
not available.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that speaks volume. But for you to come out of that and really, even though you got hit by bullets, but you really dodged some crucial bullets that could have
Hmm.
put you away for the rest of your life. But
Life. Yep.
you chose not to take that road. So again, I believe that this story does encourage and inspires others to
Yes.
think in second chance of what they're doing right now in the streets.
Yes.
Because he said, like he said, there could have been a way where he could have went upstate for the rest of his life. He could have been the result, just like some of his friends that he used to associate with are
Yeah.
doing life.
Yeah.
But we appreciate everything you've done, everything you said, Mr. Diaz. We
Yeah.
really hope to definitely have you back on here. I know we're coming up on time, but it's
Yeah.
all good. We appreciate
I
every word
appreciate you,
you
brother,
said.
man.
Yes, indeed.
Anytime I'm able to, give part of my testimony, or help out sow. I believe in sowing, and I believe in the law of sowing, reaping, and sowing because it was done to me.
Absolutely. That's
And
totally
I'm only given by grace, for by grace I receive, man.
wow.
And
That's it. Yeah.
I know that there is no limit and there's no distance,
No boundaries.
for the will of God for anybody, because He
Yeah.
reached me in a place of, like I
Absolutely.
said, I'll go back to brokenness and darkness,
Sure. That's it.
And if He did it with me, I tell everybody, I've been in street ministry, I don't know how many times. And I'm
Yeah,
not taking none of the glory, but I do give credit to whom credit is due.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I do give credit to
Absolutely.
whom credit. So when I see people just as yourself, you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
doing the will of God, for yourself, making your life better, making others around you better, it speaks
absolutely.
volumes because we are kingdom citizens.
Mm,
And the kingdom citizens are it's not made up of just one person. There's no I in team.
it's a whole body.
Yeah, it takes
Moving
a nation.
parts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we need one another, and that's all about the relationship. That's what the will of God is. The will of
That's it.
God is is
That's
is
it.
is, is extending His relationship that He has with us individually with others also.
Exactly. And that has a lot to do with delegation.
Yeah,
Delegation, even when you look at the parable of the talents, a lot of
yeah,
people like they want to utilize it to the effect of, oh, monetary things,
right.
monetary value. But at the same time,
Yeah.
is what are you doing with the people that I place before you?
There
Are you
you go.
delegating what you know? Are you demonstrating, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, different things? Because a lot of
especially if
people,
I.
it definitely, and I ended with this, a lot of people don't know that the kingdom of God is not just of words, but it's of power. It's of
Yeah,
demonstration.
yes,
So
sir.
a lot of times, and like I said, I don't. This is by no means a platform where I'm preaching, and but at the same time,
Right,
what's
right.
needs to be said needs to be said. But again, those around you, are you building people up? You know what I
Mm,
mean? Are you giving them advice? Are you encouraging them
yeah,
versus tearing down?
right.
So again, I know we can stay on here all day, every day,
Oh
but
man, it's
I'm
beautiful,
definitely
man. I appreciate you, brother.
but I definitely want you to come back on here to the Reentry podcast,
Yes, sir.
the Reentry Connect podcast, and we'll definitely you have to chop it up again. But
Yes, sir.
without further ado, if you want to give any encouragement or shout outs to anybody, please do it. So then we'll end out from there.
Yeah, man. Just yeah, keep up the good work, man. For those that are, dealing with, tough situations, man. God has not forgotten about you. You got a loved ones that are believing in you, and continue to believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Believe that you have purpose, and when you find that purpose, you're
Yeah,
gonna come out on top all the time.
absolutely.
All the
Absolutely.
time, man. And until we are called home, because tomorrow's not promised for none of us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're here today, gone tomorrow. But when you
Yeah.
find, until you are called home, find that purpose, and not don't just be hearers of it, but be doers of it.
Doors of it. Wow.
It could be, yeah, it could be anybody, especially your household. You got family, you got a child. Maybe it's not biologically yours, but you can make it yours.
There you go. There you
You
go.
know, you can make it yours, and so, and that's the power of God's grace, man. And this, I'm living testimony, brother. You are living testimony.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
He did it
indeed.
with us. He can do it with anybody.
Anybody. Absolutely. And we'll go, like you said, man, he just gave it to y'all. And like I said, again, it's the Reentry
Sir.
Connect podcast. We appreciate having you, Mr. Diaz.
Yes,
Again,
sir.
it's your host, Keenan Hudson. And again, we're coming on here to give uplifting words, encouraging people, motivating people, giving people pointers, that's re-entering society, or those who are out here in society and needs that extra hand or
Yeah.
that extra word of encouragement. So without further ado, we're going to end it for tonight. But we thank y'all for tuning in. And until